So, as we were talking, empowered women and anyone who's really self-empowered, they're not going to wear masks. They have a whole inner child. So mine didn't ever rupture, but the ones who have had rupture, they heal their inner child by becoming emotionally aware and then moving into emotional intelligence. So they will not use their time ruminating, because otherwise they're just living in their temporal junction. They will learn how to use the left, and they'll shut it up. And really what it is first to expand your window of tolerance. So if there's good self-awareness because you care about your herd, a person who's healthy self-worth and inclined to want to be a member of society, they will look with a lot of curiosity. How did my reaction and or response, was it a reaction, was it a response? Okay, so this is one. I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul age group. FYI, we're going to have some potential guidance integrated. So curiosity, it's the only way that you're going to be present, FYI. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. I know all about how the mind works, the brain, relationships, and a lot more, thanks to my attachment trauma information courses, which most 4D mystics don't know anything about, which is why they consistently talk to you about obsession with a twin flame, or twin flames, or just obsession in general means you don't know how to use your human being brain. So you're on Elsa's journey without ever getting to the end and knowing your 3-year-old, your inner child, your 1-year-old is looking for your attention. So if you don't know how to use your brain, it's because of not having the opportunity to watch one of Tara Brach's great videos on how to get that limbic system to move back into your prefrontal cortex. So it takes your desire, your motivation, to understand that you are an emotional being like I am. You have an embodied brain like I do, but some people, they don't like to get taught this stuff. So we're going to move to storytelling in a minute. I don't want to do the psych education too much. I'm looking to share. So a healed inner child, hold, thanks mom, my 1-year-old and my 3-year-old, they don't look to attach. There's no shame button, which is why there's not an emotional trigger for me to, no, actually my mother taught me all about how to work with my tone and how I share life with all these other people. Well, my twin first of all, and then others. So the 3-year-old me learned how to handle any of those emotions that came up because I was lovingly accepted and still am. I didn't have to work for love, and I got to express all the basic 6 emotions. So that's why my inner child didn't lose any of the relationship with Akash. So this infinite plane of possibilities, relational field, space. I like Sadhguru because I can relate to Akash like he does. It nudges me. And I grew up with God. So to me, the essence of life and love, that's what the infinite law of cosmos is. Oh, and yeah, F4D, they're really stuck in time. I saw some lady sharing some prophecy, which is like fear-mongering people. Please stop. It's like, seriously, do you really need to create posts that allow people? Plus, aren't you mystics? Don't you have a relationship with the energy? No, they're subjected to basically bowing down. So yeah, the people from the ancient times, they are still stuck on an energy that is no longer here. Okay, let's move back into our actual topic. Enough of the mystic stuff. It's woo-woo pseudoscience. It's okay. I'm totally cool with that. But yes, healthy self-worth. This is exactly why I don't really mind doing any of integration of all this stuff, because you are here to inspire your human potential, not mine. I get to share with you stories of how awesome it is to be empowered thanks to not having ever projected emotions on others. So emotional intelligence is when you know that I get to be me and you get to be you. And I get to love and you get to love. Now, how do I learn how to use my tone? Thanks, Mom. I learned how to use my tone because I shared a space. So I learned how to play. And here's where 4D likes to make up, again, the stories without ever getting to the end of it. And that's because they are teenagers on a roll, like Cusco, who feel very much in love with their actual ego self. So they don't say, you know what, my upset, I call her Kali, and then I bring in Shiva, thank you, Sadhguru, and then I bring in Krishna Lila. Now, Krishna Lila is my ventral vagal nervous system, and that's because I say, okay, it's none of your business if somebody else wants to stay in the human suffering love narrative. It's their business to stay in a shame cycle that involves their own relationships, their own venting, gossiping, teenager attitude. Why do you need to be involved in that? It's a person who's not emotionally intelligent. They're not emotionally available to their self. They don't know what intimacy is yet. Okay, so all the compassion in the world, but what I've seen as I've grown up is that people don't even learn if they have a whole child or not inside of them yet, and if they're playing. They would rather be spiritual bypassers with a story that they're a light and others are not, and that's where we have all those, again, groups of people getting lost. So again, for a person like myself, as a teenager, I had already learned how to share space, not to speak if something was not kind, if you can't say something nice, shh. So I didn't wear a mask and I didn't hide my feelings. And in fact, I learned how to use my ability to be less sensitive because of all the lovely teenagers who made it a point to, disregard that I didn't want to play some of their stupid games. And I see teenagers still being that. But while as a teenager, I did have low self-esteem, I immediately said, you know what? I'm not going to have low self-esteem because I am different, and so are they. And we all would say, we're all different. But the teenagers grew up to keep on thinking, no, feeling like they're different in a way of defective different. I know, I'm Maria. I'm not defective. I mean, I'm flawed, perfect. No, imperfect, but I am perfect for me. So this is what it's called to be our own safe haven, secure base, and why solo polyamory is awesome, because we know how to regulate our own nervous system and to go off and be curious in the world. And we don't wear masks. You know how interesting it is to meet so many men that wear masks? Yes. Okay, so let's move back to what a empowered woman does not do is use her voice in any way, shape, or form to go and talk to somebody who doesn't know how to handle their own heart because they have fear. It's called cowardice. It's called laziness from the good trauma therapist. It's called, I'm not going to just look at what I'm doing with other people. I'm going to disregard that I will walk in and out of somebody's life and disregard their feelings. So teenagers, young adults, you name it. You name the number of people that wear a mask. It's so common for me to see somebody with Cusco mask that I just don't bother at all. Because really, I heard it all. No, I don't have an ego self. Yes, you do. You got one right now as we're chit-chatting away. Okay, so the whole sometimes life stings. It only stings once. Then once you realize that everybody doesn't know how to get the people who know how to get their inner child, it's because they care to be a member of their society. Or they're motivated like I was just motivated because I got lucky. I got to have my mom who got me to be okay with who I am, twin who also got me to be okay with who I am, Jesus and God. And then once it became clear that nobody's following the love that Jesus shares, like, yeah, sorry, spirituality, not the ancient institutions that are fear-mongering and continuing to live in like the medieval times. This is what a restorative embodiment is. By the way, it is when you're present moment to moment, without needing explanation or judgment. And, you have feelings inside, awe, grace, connection, peace, beauty, love, and oneness. Yes, so when I met teenagers, I didn't learn anything different as a grown-up, because the people who don't care to do this, learning to live joyfully with things you do not like, is a huge lesson in life. Some of us learned how to deal with people that are consistently avoidant. So they're emotionally unavailable. They lie in your face, behind your back. They gossip. Let's see, dysfunctional. So there's a lot of ways that people who are low self-esteem, indirect communicators, passive-aggressive, they have clownish attitudes all over the place. And the whole boundaries. They don't know. Any cancel culture is a person who's not a whole inner child yet. So they could use good therapy. That way they can get to reparent themselves and then become truly empowered. And then we would see, which we're seeing, by the way, we're seeing the more emotionally mature and mentally mature people come on and talk about important topics, because essentially we have the researchers. So we're going to talk about serial daters later on, my lovely ladies and gents and days. But in the meantime, here's where I love when I get to be with people that I'm myself and they're themselves. And those are all healthy self-worth people who have their inner child in the forefront. So we get to go build a snowman. They don't wear a mask. No, in fact, we talk about our emotions, and our mood swings don't make us get into like any kind of let me insult you or hide from you or any of that. So people who have actual courage, they talk about their feelings all the time, not sometimes, and they don't pretend to be someone. They learn to be their self because they care to not live a life that is a lie. And today we have great attachment and trauma educators who are helping people to know how to get back home to their self. And for us, it's through personal development. So We build 5D relationships, Pacha relationships, secure attachment, unconditional love. We're all imperfect. Tune on in.